Hey everyone, so I hope your last few days of Go Battle League are going well for the season. If you are making that final push to rank 10 or just want to finish on a high note, I got a team that will probably work really well for you. The team worked so well, I was actually able to reach the number 15 spot on the GBL leaderboard, and I actually went on a 10-0 run against some of the best players towards the end. So the team I'm using is Tropius, with Sableye, with Return, and Umbreon. A few things to know about this team is that Tropius is pretty much a must-have. You could try to replace it with Jumpluff, but it just doesn't hit nearly as hard, and its movesets just aren't as good as Tropius is. Sableye you can potentially run with Power Gem instead of Return. A friend of mine has been using Power Gem instead of Return, and it's been working pretty well for him. It does give you some better coverage against Altaria and Lapras, but it does end up being a little bit worse against Azumarills. So I'll get into the footage and kind of talk about how this team works. Okay, so going against my friend Jingles here, so pretty much all these battles are in the 3,000 plus range. Most of them are in the 3,100 plus range. Some of them are even in the 3,200 plus range. So right here, Obstagoonn lead, you definitely want to stay in. Pretty much any fighter or pseudo fighter you want to stay in because they do really well against Umbreon, and Obstagoonn in this case does really well against Sableye as well. So Obstagoonn's pretty much my biggest threat to the team. He does switch in his Drip Limb, and that's actually really good because Umbreon doesn't really need to shield anything. You just go straight foul play. It's the easiest matchup to handle. And you don't want to go Sableye against Drip Limb because you might have to start shielding some of the Icy Winds or Shadow Balls if you let few go through. Alright, so he probably has a lot of energy on this Obstagoonn, so I'm going to shield in case of a Gunk Shot, and it ends up being a Gunk Shot. And then he brings in a Hypno, and this is perfect. Hypno pretty much just gets hard countered by Sableye right here, and especially because he's not running Shadow Ball on his, I'm just going to charge up a little extra energy. This energy will be pretty good because the thing with Sableye is you can't really counter it down because it is resisting the counters too. So he does have Throws energy right here, and then I'm just going to go for a foul play because I wasn't sure if I was going to reach the Return. I do grab a shield. This is good because then I just need pretty much one more Leaf Blade and I should be good. And yeah, I think he realizes it's over, so he's going to just concede the match right there. Alright, Sirfetch'd. A fantastic looking Pokemon, but terrible lead against this line. It's absolutely amazing. I had a little screen recording error from my previous match right there. But they're going to go close combat, which is probably the right move because it's going to do the most amount of damage. And they bring in their Skarmory. So I pivot to Sableye right here. And so here's the main thing. You win a lead this hard, you want to maintain the health on your Tropius. So what I do is I pivot to my Sableye because I know it can kind of check Skarmory and it draws out anything that Umbreon was probably weak to, right? So if this is a Charmer or a Azumarill, I could draw it out. So luckily I was actually able to bait out Shield with Foul Play too, so that's perfect. And they go straight Play Rough, so they can't really farm too much. I think they undercharge that one, which is a good play by my opponent. But back-to-back Leaf Blades right here, and then I have Umbreon to handle the Skarmory. And this is pretty good. So what I'm going to do right here is probably just let the first Sky Attack go through. If they throw a Brave Bird right away, then you're in good luck because then everything's going to be, the defense is going to be debuffed from Skarmory. So I never shield the first one, right? If they want to go straight Brave Bird, have at it. Umbreon's going to survive, and then they're just going to get one shot by the Foul Plays after. At this range, actually, Foul Play is enough anyway. So yeah, even though Sirfetch'd is a really great lead, you want to just make sure you maintain that advantage by swapping to Sableye to draw out the Azumarill. Because if I stayed in there against the Skarmory, I would have lost. Like that Azumarill would have swept my back line, and especially Skarmory with all that energy too. Alright, so Medicham, I do shield the first thing just because in case of Ice Punch is double super effective against Tropius, even though it doesn't have stab and it's not maybe the best move, but it's still going to hurt Tropius a bit. So I don't really want to risk that, in that I forced 2 shields from this Dewgaunt, which is perfect. So at this point, I'm going to just go straight for the foul play and really whittle down this Dewgaunt. And at this point, I'm probably realizing that this is probably AsianMilkMan's line, which is Medicham, Dewgaunt, and Munchlax. I've seen like different orders of this, Medicham in the front or Dewgaunt in the front. It kind of varies. Almost never Munchlax in the front, but yeah, realizing this, I feel pretty good about it because yeah, Sableye has a good check against pretty much most of this line, especially because this Medicham is not matched up against my Umbreon. My Umbreon actually has a lot too. So we CMP tied there, unfortunately, so I'm going to undercharge, which is a little bit unfortunate. So I'm going to have to try to throw this Leaf Blade right away, and smartly my opponent decided to drop the Icy Wind, which was a good play by them. Yeah, if we didn't CMP tie there, then it would have been a little bit better, but I'm going to farm up all this energy and throw return on the Munchlax. Both return and Foul Play would do neutral here, and they're both the same energy efficiency, so it just depends on if you want to do a little bit more damage with return or do a little bit less damage with Foul Play. But ends up being in a very good spot because now this Munchlax is going to take out the Umbreon, and I can farm up a Shadow Claw or two of energy against this Munchlax, which will just help me get to this Foul Play a little bit sooner. And yeah, I can take out the opponent right here. So obviously these are kind of more favorable matchups. So Scrafty right here, this is pretty good, but this is a problem. So they come with the Charmer, and what I'm scared of right here is that they're running Double Charm. So if they are, I'm pretty much screwed. The thing is, Scrafty is really good against my backline, but these Charmers are even better. So I have to shield. I definitely have to shield this. And I'm going to just throw the Leaf Blade right away because this Charm is really chunking away at my Tropius. And then here comes, let's see, yeah, Scrafty. I have to stay in here as well. I'm probably going to switch after this so I don't get farmed too much. But yeah, and then here comes the Whimsicott. This is over. I think what I could have done better there is maybe swapped to my Umbreon, because Tropius has a pretty good matchup against Whimsicott, just because it's weak to the flying damage. It's not a great matchup, but it's not bad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a way to beat this line, unfortunately. Double Charm with 2 Darks in the back. That's very bad for my team. And then on top of that, you also have Scrafty. So Scrafty checks Sableye and Umbreon, and then you got the Charmers that pretty much check Tropius. So yeah, it's GG's. So if you run into double Charmers with Scrafty, not too much you could do, but you can't beat every line, right? Just wanted to show in case someone's like, oh, what about double Charmer? Yeah, it's not going to win double Charm. I'm not sure what to say besides that. All right, Deoxys Defense, very good to see because Tropius can beat Deoxys Defense, Sableye definitely beats Deoxys Defense, and Umbreon definitely beats Deoxys Defense. So Deoxys Defense is kind of dead weight against this team, which is really good because Deoxys Defense is pretty common in Open Great League. So I do let this Foul Play go. Now I have a shield advantage. They have Deoxys Defense in the back. I have energy on my Tropius. It's not looking good, right? So no matter what they bring, I feel pretty comfortable. And so it ends up being Abomasnow. So Abomasnow actually is pretty scary for this team, especially in the lead. But with the shield advantage, it's going to be really good. And I'm going to shield this Energy Ball because Energy Ball is going to do way more damage than anything Deoxys Defense throws. Just because it's so bulky and its attacks just don't hit nearly as hard as Abomasnow's. Yeah, I'm in a very good spot right here. Yeah, that'll pretty much finish off the match. Just charge up to extra Foul Plays. I can throw one right at the Abomasnow right after, and then that'll be GG's. Yeah, so Deoxys Defense leads, perfect to see. You still want to swap out because you have better matchups in the back, but if you're forced to match up against Deoxys Defense with Tropius on even energy, Tropius does win that. Alright, Skarmory lead, not great. The worst counter for Tropius, right? Anyone that's ever played Tropius. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that beats it harder, right? I can't think of anything per se. But yeah, so what I do, I draw out the Azumarill, and then I'm just going to tank this Ice Beam. I know it's going to do a lot of damage, but I need to save my shields for Skarmory because I'm pretty much down a Pokemon already, and this Tropius is dead weight against Skarmory. It's going to farm me down if I don't take it out. So I'm actually going to let this Tropius go. I don't really mind because I'll just go straight Snarl. Ooh, yeah, the GG's. And then they bring in the hard counter of Shadow Machamp. Not really anything I could do here, even with 2 shields. So the issue there was not that it was a Skarmory lead. The issue was I was hard counter throughout, right? So in those situations, not too much play. I just want to show you though, just in case you're like, well, what about Skarmory's, right? So here's a situation where, as a spoiler, I'm not getting hard counter throughout. So there's some play even though it's a Skarmory lead. Anytime the Skarmory's staying in a little bit too long here, it's actually a good thing. Means that you have some play against the back line. So I'm going to let this go because I know it's a Mud Bomb. This means I could get off both of my moves are here, so I'm going to go double Foul Play. And this will definitely chunk away at the Whiscash. Oh, actually my switch timer was up, so I actually decided to save the Foul Play and then go straight for the Leaf Blade here. They shield. Very interesting. So I'm just going to let this Blizzard go through. That's fine. The thing is, again, Tropius is dead weight when they have a Skarmory, and if I didn't let that go through, there's still going to be quite a bit of time on the switch timer for me to get locked in against that Skarmory. I don't want them with that energy. Again, they have Deoxys Defense in the back, and this is really good because now you have Umbreon that matches up really well with it. Yeah, so I'm just going to stay in here. I think I do shield this one eventually just because I want to farm a little bit of energy here. The Skarmory is kind of low already, so I'm not too worried about the charge moves there, and I do survive a Sky Attack regardless. I just don't want to get hit by a Rock Slide and get countered down. So I'm going to tank this Sky Attack. I guess it doesn't really matter too much because I would have thrown Foul Play, so I can't get countered down. But I'm going to throw Sky Attack right here and then swap straight to my Sableye, which I still have the Foul Play banked. Throw against a Whiscash, and that's GG's. Mandibuzz. Very terrible lead too. The thing about Mandibuzz that's worse than Skarmory is Mandibuzz can beat this entire team. If it's running Aerial Ace, it can beat Umbreon too. It walls off Sableye for the most part. I have to go for these returns because it's my only chance to do any damage. Luckily, I don't shield it, but there's no way I could beat this Mandibuzz, so I'm just going to let all these charge moves go. They charge a bunch of damage here, a bunch of energy. So this is really bad. So I have to bring in Umbreon here because I definitely can't beat Tropius into this. And I'm going to farm up a little extra energy because I know this Umbreon can still tank pretty well. They end up throwing a Foul Play. So it's making me think that they're probably running Shadow Ball or it's single move because, you know, Mandibuzz is actually quite rare to acquire. So no hate if they're only single moving it. I've only hatched... Actually, I don't think I've hatched a Volibee once yet. Yeah, it's been bad. Alright, so they bring in Toxicroak right here. Pretty good. And then they actually have Cresselia in the back. Definitely a spicy team. I definitely respect this. Cresselia though does lose to Tropius, especially if Tropius has a little bit of energy as well, which is pretty good. So what this means is that I'm going to draw out the switch timer a little bit. I could take these moves, so I'm going to start shielding right here though, because I definitely don't want to get hit by another Moonblast. And then I bring in my Umbreon. This is perfect because if it hit me with a Moonblast, it'll be a little bit harder for them to farm. So they get 2 counters off, but no big deal. I go straight for the Aerial Ace. If I throw a Leaf Blade there, I think Toxicroak still survives with a little bit of health, so you definitely don't want that. Alright, I'm going to shield this, even though it's probably a Grass Knot. Yep, and it is, and that's fine, because I know I could get to 2 back-to-back Leaf Blades and finish off my opponent. So, Mandibuzz, even though it counters pretty much the whole team, you still have a little play against it, right? So you just have to kind of maneuver around it. But Mandibuzz is definitely a threat to this team, especially in the lead. Alright, G-Fisk. Pretty popular Pokemon. You're going to see this a lot. I actually swap into my Umbreon here. And I think the rationale here was that I want to potentially catch a Rock Slide or something. But I end up... Usually I swap to Sableye, but because I decided to stay in that matchup and farm up a little energy, I was hoping to catch a Rock Slide, but they didn't throw it right away, so I had to shield the Earthquake. But I don't mind that too much, because if I swapped in Sableye, even a Rock Slide kind of hurts there, so it's not great. So at this point, I'm just going to fast move down this Tropius, build up a lot of energy. These Leaf Blades will hurt the G-Fisk still. I do shield this one because I don't want to get taken out before I get to use all this energy. But I don't shield the move from Tropius because I know it's not going to take me out, right? And this G-Fisk is only going to take me out from charge moves, so I don't have to worry about the mud shots anyway. So no need to waste a shield there. And then, yeah, as you can see, throwing a bunch of moves here, and hopefully I catch a Rock Slide here. Yep, I do, which is good because now I can get off the Foul Place. I have another one banked too, actually, which is really nice. So I'm going to throw that one right here. It ends up being Sableye. It's perfect. I have my own Sableye. This is not a great situation, but it's not a bad one. And my Tropius actually still has a decent amount of health, so I just need to force 1 shield. Oh, I guess I go Sableye. This makes sense too, I guess. Because now I draw the energy, and now I can charge up without having to worry about the Foul Play. Yeah, this actually, looking back on this, makes more sense than what I thought I was going to do. So props to my old self. Yeah. So anyway, I didn't really talk about this yet, but why does this team work? On paper, this team does not look that good. You know, you got Tropius, which is not the best counter to Azumarill even. It's okay against Mud Boys, but still gets one shot by Blizzard. You got Double Dark, right? Like, there's so many Azumarills around, you think this team is really weak, but I think what I noticed is that a lot of teams are not ready for that second Dark type, and they have Psychic types or even things that go neutral. Like, Umbreon against G-Fisk is a pretty solid matchup. You know, you'd be surprised, but if you shield the Earthquakes, Umbreon actually has a lot of play, especially with the energy advantage and stuff like that, or health advantage. So right here, going against Bastiodon, pretty much Bastiodon lead these days is double Razor Leaf in the back, right? Also, not the best matchup here, but what I do is I farm with a little bit more energy and then swap to my Umbreon. I was hoping to catch a move, but that's okay if I don't. I figured they had Victory Bell in the back, which is good because you actually charge energy pretty quickly, so you can force a shield here, or they have to let the Victory Bell go. And them letting the Victory Bell go is great because this Umbreon can keep spamming these foul plays. If they don't let the Umbreon go, that's fine too because you just farm down with Tropius. And Tropius does okay against Bastiodon, especially with shields. It doesn't win it outright, but it has some play. I think Umbreon even survives the Stone Edge. Yeah, it's just so bulky. I get another foul play off. It just, the bulk of Umbreon in the back, especially after you get rid of their Azu with Sableye, Umbreon could just overcome so many matchups. It's just very, very solid in that regard. Yeah, so honestly, when I first made the team, I was like, I don't know, is this really going to work? But it ended up working pretty well, actually. There's a lot of matchups where they had like a Hypno hidden in the back as well. I just didn't show a lot of those matchups here just because they're a little bit repetitive and they're a little bit easier to win, so they're not nearly as exciting. All right, this is a miserable lead. Abomasnow, especially Shadow Abomasnow in the lead. Whew. Yeah, it's tough. Abomasnow is very tough for this line. Umbreon probably has the best play against it, but even then, it's not the greatest. It's very strong, especially Shadow variant, so definitely something to watch out for. So let's see, I do shield this right here. I don't really want to, but unfortunately I kind of have to. And they actually go into my Umbreon right here. And the main reason here is because I know I could absorb these moves a little better, so I want to build up a little bit of energy. And then they do a great swap actually right here to Medicham to catch a foul play. But I do need to land a Last Resort here anyway. And I know that's not going to one shot. Unfortunately, if I had 2 Last Resorts, that'd be a different story. So great catch my opponent, but this means I do get a little bit of farm because the Medicham definitely didn't have energy right there. Alright, so let's see what they come in with. It's going to be Sableye. So at this point, I know I just need to farm down. I can't really risk throwing a move here. I'm going to go back-to-back Aero Ace. I don't think this Abomasnow actually gets to move in time, so that's why I was comfortable with the shield. But who actually feints out who here? And it's a tie. So I'll take a tie. To be honest, a tie against a Shadow Abomasnow lead against this team is a better outcome than I would have predicted. So definitely great battle to my opponent right there. Right here, even though the graphics says swap out, I kind of make a mistake and just stay in a little too long. I just want to absorb the energy and make another mistake. I shield, so not great. I think his opponents 1, 2, 3 say yeah. Great player. I played them a couple times in the past too. So yeah, great call to not shield, figuring that I probably wasn't going to double shield here, and I don't obviously. So this is not great. I do draw out the Azumarill though, so Umbreon has a little bit of play in the back, depending on what the backline is. So I assume Ferrothorn probably comes back. Let's see. Yep, Ferrothorn comes back, and then I go straight to Umbreon, and then it's Toxic Growth, so it's not good. Not what I wanted to see, but yeah, unfortunately this is a very good team that checks mine. It's probably gonna be a Sludge Bomb. Yep, and I'm not going to shield here just because yeah, that's really no point. They do shield here, which is a good shield, and then I go straight for the Leaf Blade. Yeah, this is still going to be very hard. They shield. I should have gone for the Aero Ace right here, but I forgot that this Toxo could actually tank. So yeah, if I went for the Aero Ace, this would be slightly closer. Yeah, I still don't think I would have won, but really some misplays on my end and really great plays from my opponent right there. So good games. Alright, so Azumarill, even though it's a solid lead, getting hit by Ice Beam is really rough on Tropius. So, and Azumarill is so bulky, you need to throw at least 2 Leaf Blades anyway. So my opponent actually goes in and throws a foul play first. I let it expend its energy, and then I go in with my Umbreon. That's very important because the Azumarill is going to near one-shot you with the Ice Beam anyway, so you don't really need the health, right? So you might as well absorb the damage as much as you can from the opposing Umbreon, then come in with your own. That way your Umbreon is not behind on health, and you can hopefully maintain switch advantage. So that's pretty much what I'm going to try to do right here. My opponent's going to throw Last Resorts, and I'm going to just keep throwing Last Resorts as well. I should be able to put him in range of a foul play right here, so I feel pretty good about this. I assume this is probably just going to be a foul play, or maybe a Last Resort, but I do survive it. And they bring in AWAC. This is kind of perfect because I have my Sableye right here. However, Shadowbone has been an upgrade for AWAC for sure. It gives it a lot more bait potential too. And I do get baited with Bone Club. I don't really want Double Shield here, so I'm just gonna have to let this go, unfortunately. And I don't get to the Foul Play, which is really rough. So this is not a great matchup, but luckily my opponent does shield. I have 2 Leaf Blades built up, which is perfect. And then my opponent actually brings the Umbreon too, which gives me a slightly more farm here. I'm not going to shield again. Like I said, Ice Beam is going to take me out anyway, so I'm just going to build up to 2 Leaf Blades and take out the Azu. I still have a shield, and I know that they can't possibly throw back-to-back Ice Beams, so I'm good. Yeah, so even though it was a great lead, it's still kind of a close match. My opponent played this very well too, but Umbreon is not the easiest lead, but it is a necessary matchup. J. Robin Stacks. So I think this might be my first time playing the player. He actually also reached top of the leaderboard recently. I think it was number 2 for a day, so doing quite well as well. And so again, you would think Umbreon or Azu lead, fantastic, right? And AWAC safe swap, even better, right? So I'm going to tank this. I probably made a mistake by farming too much, because now this puts my Umbreon in a really farmable spot from this Azu, and that's never good, right? So yeah, Azu with energy, especially against a Tropius, whew, that's not good news. If it was like a Ferrothorn or something, I wouldn't be as worried, but yeah, I know that he's building up a lot of energy here, but the problem is I can't swap the Sableye, or I can't swap the Tropius either because I lose switch advantage. So I just keep spamming out these last resorts, and yeah, that's pretty much what I have to do at this point. Alright, let's see what I do here. I do shield. I know that he has close to 2 Ice Beams anyway. And then here comes the Abomasnow. Abomasnow, not good for this team. Not good for this team at all. I do try to catch Weather Ball here, which ends up working, but Sableye doesn't really have much play either. It's not good. It's not good at all. So yeah, this is pretty much GG's. The thing is, he gets shield right here and farm up a little bit more and then throw a Weather Ball, or maybe we CMP'd, I don't know. But yeah, I'm 1 Weather Ball away, and he has Ice Beam on his Azu. I was actually trying to farm down there because I knew I can't throw a move because there's no way to beat the Azu in the back. So really well played. So again, like I said, Azu lead doesn't mean you necessarily win, so you definitely have to be on your A game even against those matchups. Alright, Swampert lead though, different story. Swampert lead is fantastic. You do have to watch out for Sludge Wave, but it's not too bad. What I should have done right there is actually charge off to a full Leaf Blade. I kind of made a mistake by being 1 air slash away. However, I don't think my opponent is at the Sludge Wave either, so it's not terrible, but definitely could be a little bit cleaner on that specific play. Alright, so the big thing here is you want to shield the Earthquake if possible from the G-Fist. Ensures that you can win the matchup. Yeah, they go Rock Slide here, that's fine. I actually have a lot of energy now, and this Swampert is going to be kind of in a tough spot because these foul plays are going to start hurting. So if he doesn't throw a full Hydro Cane, I have another foul play. So my opponent undercharged there, which is kind of gutsy against an Umbreon because you can't really much shot this Umbreon down either. But yeah, so they do have to spend their energy now. And then bring in my Tropius, and then they come in with Skarmory. So this is kind of a classic Swampert with Double Steel in the back. Sometimes it's Reggie, sometimes it's G-Fist, but it's almost always Skarmory with another Steel. Which this line does pretty well against. If it was a Reggie, be a little bit harder. Reggie's actually not too bad actually, because if you have switch advantage, you just swap Sableye into the Reggie. And if it's G-Fix, you swap Umbreon into it. Alright, so I do have enough energy though, take out the Skarmory, and then 1 Leaf Blade away from taking out the Swampert. And GG's. So yeah, great lead to see. Works really well with this team comp. Alright, Galvantula, kind of tough. Galvantula, especially with the lunge move, is solid against Tropius. I actually go Leaf Blade here. I think energy efficiency wise, Leaf Blade is more efficient or about the same efficiency as a neutral Aero Ace as opposed to resisted Leaf Blade. Just because Aero Ace is such a bad move and Leaf Blade is such a good move. Alright, my opponent does go Shadow Bone. Man, does so much damage. It looks like it's hitting like a Shadow Ball almost, but I know it's not. Alright, so my opponent is waiting out the timer, and then I try to get to return. I can't, so I'm just going to throw the foul play. Hope they make a mistake here. They do not shield. Smart play by them. Or maybe they just want to save their shields, but either way, I'm going to kind of whittle down this Azumarill a little bit, and then they come in with the Galvantula. This is pretty good for me. I do get hit by Lunge, but Umbreon's quite tanky, so I'm going to shield the second one, but I knew that I could survive at least one. And then now I'm going to charge up a little bit extra and then throw the foul play. Now this Azu is in a very tough spot because they have to drop all their energy to take me out, or they get hit by a bunch of last resorts. Umbreon actually ends up surviving that. They might have undercharged it actually, but at this point, very good spot with Tropius, just because I will get to the second Leaf Blade before they get to the Ice Beam, and they can see the match right there. All right, this looks like a familiar team. So yeah, if you run into any of my Grass 2.0 teams, which honestly is a little bit better these days because the Shadow Bone, how do you play it out? So again, say swap Sableye right here. This is perfect because with return you can force a shield from Shiftry. I don't think you can force a shield with Power Gem, unfortunately, so that's definitely a downside. But you force a shield there, no need to bait. You're not going to win that matchup anyway because you're not going to outpace the Shiftry to their moves, but you will get to a return before they get to 2 Leaf Blades. So that's good because now they're down a shield. And like I mentioned in my video, Umbreon is a nightmare for this team, especially if you don't have Shiftry lined up against it. So this is actually very good because I know that, especially with the shield advantage, I'm going to win this matchup. It's not going to be easy, but I'm going to win it. Unless I make some terrible mistake right here. I do shield the moves from Ferrothorn because they're probably going to do a lot more damage than AWAC's moves. Especially Shadow Bone too. It's not going to hit nearly as hard as Shadow Ball, and they're all resisted. Whereas Power Whips are not. And then I go in to snipe out the Ferrothorn before they can swap out. And then even get a Leaf Blade against the AWAC. I don't mind AWAC having energy here. I still have a shield too, so that's just kind of nice. Let's see if I shield or not. No, I let the first one go. Mainly because if I get a defense drop, I definitely want to shield the second one, right? But yeah, at this point, pretty much take out the AWAC. I do shield this one. This is actually a little bit closer than I thought it was going to be. So great plays by my opponent right here. But this team does check that team very well. All right. Umbreon, what do you do? Umbreon is actually pretty bulky, but if you play it out right and nothing weird happens, Tropius does beat Umbreon. Even especially if you're running this moveset. So I'm going to throw the Leaf Blades. I do charge up a few extra energy just to kind of keep my opponents off their count, but also in case they swap out to something where I need Leaf Blade. So what I like to do here is charge up and then swap to my Umbreon because I want to draw the Azu still, right? If I just stay in that matchup and my Tropius almost fainted out, I got nothing for this Azu in the back, right? But you want to swap out a little bit later because if you swap out too early, then your Sableye and Umbreon won't have any play against their Umbreon, right? If the Umbreon has too much health left, it's going to be a pain for Sableye to take care of later on. So that's what I want to put it down low enough so that I have some play there. And then my opponent actually swaps back to Umbreon here, which I'm cool with that. So I do take it out right here, and then they're probably going to throw a move right here. That's fine. I have my Tropius still, and then I'm going to just throw the move right away, not have to worry about shielding. Let's see what my opponent has in the back. So I'm going to shield this one, just because I don't really want to. I guess I could farm down with Shadow Claws, but who knows what they have in the back, and I'd rather have the coverage of Tropius there. So I'm going to double shield here, unfortunately. Maybe I should have done the move, but I decided to just double shield and then throw 2 Leaf Blades against this Hypno. Hypno is great to see because Sable has a great matchup, but if I could grab a shield right here, that'd be really good. And they do throw a shield, which is perfect. And then Sableye right here is going to wrap up things. I don't know if they're lagging or they just gave up. They might have just given up. Yeah, unfortunately, if they lag, that's too bad, but there's nothing they could have done in that situation either. All right, Hypno lead. You want to swap straight to Sableye and draw out any dark counters. So again, if it's not Azu, it's probably something like a Scrafty or Obstagoonn or Mandibuzz. So this is good to see. All right, draw out the Scrafty early because Scrafty has a lot of play against Umbreon. Kind of misplay by me right there. I should have done the foul play. I guess I got a little greedy and trying to go for a return. which definitely was going to happen. Alright, so I go straight for the Leaf Blade right here. It is only neutral, but you don't really need Aerial Ace to bring it that low. Maybe if I land the Foul Play, it would have been better, but I do get 2 extra air slashes of energy, which is always nice. And then here comes the Azu. So this is actually really bad. You've got a Fairy in the back and a Fighter, and they both check my backline really well. So this is kind of a match that I really need to play well. And oh man, they land a Play Rough, so that's actually pretty bad. If it was Hydro Pump and Ice Beam, I feel a little more comfortable about it. I shield, ends up being just the Ice Beam, not good either. So I know my switch timer is close to being up, so I come in and drop a Leaf Blade. They don't shield, which is perfect actually. And I'm just gonna let this move go. I'd rather have the shield for the Umbreon. And my Umbreon has a little bit of energy, so I could definitely threaten this Hypno. So I'm going to shield their move right here, and then I'm going to make a risky play. I'm going to farm down with Snarls and go for back-to-back Foul Plays against this Azu. I probably should have thrown the move. Looking back, oh no, they still have 2 shields. Yeah, so that I'd rather, I knew that Azu was out of energy, so I'd rather have 2 moves there. Right, another familiar looking line. So this is my Mew Double Steel line. I wasn't sure right off the bat because there's a lot of potential Mew lines out there, but once we see this move, I have a pretty good idea. And yep, Flame Charge looks about right, and they bring Registeel. So I will say my recommendation for this trainer is that in this situation, you want to bring in G-Fizz. G-Fizz has a much better matchup against Sableye than Reggie does. And also this works out perfectly for me though, because Reggie has a much harder matchup against my Tropius and Umbreon. So if I can take out Reggie, which is the biggest threat to my other 2 Pokemon, great. So it puts it in actually Air Slash range, which is kind of interesting. You don't really see Tropius farm down a Registeel too often. But yeah, so they bring in G-Fizz, and as expected, and this is good because now, do I tank this? Yeah, I do tank the move. I know I could tank one, and then I think I probably just, yeah, I go for another Leaf Blade. This is perfect. At this point, I'm happy to let Tropius go. It's done its duty. Yeah, I'm just going to tank the Rocks. I think I might survive it a little bit, so I swapped straight away to Umbreon, and then, yeah, they're going to concede the match because they realized it was over there. Alright, Venusaur. Pretty solid lead, but the Sludge Bombs are something to be concerned about, so you definitely want to be on your toes. And then they come with Vigoroth. Vigoroth is pretty solid against Umbreon, and does okay against Sableye. So what I'm going to do right here is wear down this Venusaur. I know that this this Vigoroth. I know this Venusaur is not going to be able to take me out with fast moves, so I don't mind being a little bit lower on health. I probably am close to Frenzy Plant range though, but I'd rather have this energy from the Vigoroth, which is a hard farm down. So I'm nearly at 100 energy at this point. I have 2 Foul Plays I can throw at this Venusaur, so I'm going to throw them, and it's going to have to draw a shield, or they're going to get fainted out. So they do shield, that's perfect. And then I go for, almost got to another one. Man, that would have been really nice. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to it. And I do lose CMP against Venusaur here, but I don't mind, because CMP here means I still throw the move, and they're still forced to either shield or tank the move. And so they decided to tank it actually. And here comes Skarmory. Yeah, this is okay. It's a slightly neutral matchup, but I kind of make a mistake right here. I'm overcharging a little bit. As you can see, I'm hitting 100 energy and then some. So I should have thrown the Foul Place a little bit earlier. So I'm wasting a little bit of energy right there, and I think I do it again, which is actually very unfortunate. Let's see if I do it again or not. Yeah, I do it again for some reason. Don't know why. I guess I'm just trying to make this match closer than it needs to be. At this point, I think that they could probably reach a Sky Attack before I get to the next Foul Play. So I sack my Tropius. Luckily, I sacked it perfectly right here. Worked out great. And then they bring in their Venusaur. And I get an extra Snarl, and this will finish it off with Foul Play. I think there might be a little lag on the server side. I don't know. I was terrified this move was going to do no damage. We've all been there, but luckily it does go through. And yeah, I win the match right there. As you can see, I'm claiming a 5-0. That brings me up to 3,200, and then I claim another 5-0, making it a 10-0 streak in the 3100 to the 3200 range. All that's to say is that this team works really well even against some of the best players in the world, so hopefully this line will also work really well for you on your final push in these next few days. A big shout out and thank you to all of my patrons who have been supporting my content creation. As I mentioned before, my patrons do get a heads up on all these strategies, so if it interests you, definitely sign up for the Meta Breaker tier above for the early access strategies. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and share, subscribe for future content, hit that notification bell if you want to get alerted right when I post a new video. So I'll see you all in Little Cup in Season 5. Bye.